Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Andrew. So I'm not sure if you're going to see this video or not, quite honestly. I'm filming it because of, well, I'll explain that in a second, but basically I have no script, there's no idea here. I'm just going to talk and I'm going to go with it, and if it's not too rambly and not too crazy, I'm going to throw it up on my channel. So the reason I'm filming this video is because I have essentially now, although you haven't seen the last video in the religious series, I have filmed that video, and it was supposed to come out the day that I'm filming this. That being said, I watched it back, and although I think it's a very good video with a very good message that I think a lot of people could take away from, there was something about it that was bothering me, and so I'm going to film this video as well, just not to counter that video per se, but just to add on to it. So I'm going to put this video first. Hopefully I will release this video tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and then I will release that video on Wednesday, and that will be it from religion, and we're moving on from there. So that video that I put out tomorrow has been fully written, and like I said, for all of the final thought videos that I've done, I think in every series that I've done so far, I write what is essentially an open letter. I think about everything I've learned filming the series. I think about the series and what I've said in the series. I think about the comments and what has been said to me in the comments, and then I kind of make a conclusion and get it out. And like I say, that video is ready to go. I watched it and something was bugging me. And then I watched it again and something was bugging me, but I couldn't quite put my finger on what was bugging me about that video. And I still don't really know, but I'm going to talk about a couple things that I don't talk about in that video, and I'm hoping the combination of the two will be kind of a really good conclusion. So to talk about this whole series, we got to start at the beginning. No, not at the beginning of the universe or anything like that, just at the beginning of this series on my channel. And if you want to check that out, I have a playlist called Religion. All of the religious videos are on it. You can go through them in order. You can check out what you missed or not. That's totally up to you. You watch what you want. No pressure from this channel to do what you don't want to. But even if I asked you, would you do it anyway? It's like the whole asking people to subscribe. If you want to subscribe, you're going to subscribe whether I ask you or not. I don't think a lot of people are like, I'll ask you to subscribe, and you're like, oh my god, I forgot. Yeah, I'll subscribe now. So I don't ask things like that normally, but yeah, all of those are up there if you want to see them. If not, that's cool too. But yeah, so in the beginning of this series, I explained my views on religion. I think I want to expand on those slightly in this video. So I'm agnostic. I'm the guy that's on the fence that all the other people are annoyed at. I think that's the best sum up of it. Being agnostic, you can get. Although that is my general. That is. Yeah, I'm on that fence a lot apparently, or people think I'm on that fence a lot, which is interesting. But yeah, I don't believe that there's enough evidence one way or the other to prove or disprove the existence of God. I think there's some minor evidence both ways, but I don't think there's enough either way to say. And I know both religious and atheists that I know kind of get annoyed at me because they're like, well, you can't really not believe anything, and I'm like, why can't I not? I mean, why can't I? Should my position not be kind of like, at least in my opinion, the default position? Well, there's no evidence one way or the other, so I don't know. That's all I'm saying when I'm agnostic. I don't know. I don't know what's out there, guys. I'm not foolish enough to think that I, with my 35 years here on Earth, know anything, especially when it comes to a God. So if I was pushed and someone said, okay, you have to believe in some sort of God, what would that God look like? Right now, currently, I don't have a good image of this to describe it, but the best description I can give at this point, and I think this is a very flawed description, obviously, but it would be almost like a scientist playing with the dials in the multiverse, creating different universes. So, like, for instance, the God would be there and be like, okay, well, okay, so in this universe, these are going to be the laws of physics, these are going to be this, and he has a bunch of things that he determines, that he, like, creates that universe. And he could be doing that infinitely. Oh, look, this one I had these laws, and it created humans. Hey, that's cool. Yeah, it's something like that. But I don't think that a God that is a part of our day-to-day life is likely. That affects things on a day-to-day level. I don't think that is as likely as a God that just kind of sits and watches. I could see a God that has created everything and sits and watches, more so than I can one that it impacts on a daily level. Just look at how the world's going, and I know that's the human, and supposedly if you believe the Christian tradition, God gave us the free will to make whatever damn choice we want, but it just doesn't look good. So that's my view on God if one exists. Also, if one exists, I don't think any religion has it right. And the reason for that is because most religions, and I say most because according to Islam, they're a little different in this, but most religions nowadays have the view that God may have inspired the writings, but the writings were written by human. Meaning that inherently, because humans are flawed, the writings would be flawed. And also, let's say God gives you an idea of something, right? This is God we're talking about. This is an all-powerful, all-knowing entity. How are we going to even come close to understanding half of what he wants us to understand about himself? How are we going to come close enough to understanding 1% of what he wants to know, what he wants us to know about him, or her, or it, or whatever pronoun it may use? I don't think we can. I don't think we can. I don't think we will ever be able to, in fact, until... I talked about this in one of my videos last week about what heaven could actually look like. And I think heaven is essentially whatever we see heaven as, if we can get into heaven, if it exists. I think it would be the same place for everyone. I don't think that it's just if we look at the Christian God where you have to be Christian to get into heaven, I don't think that's a true thing at all, personally. I get it. You guys believe it. Great. Good for you. I have no problem with you believing it. I just don't think that that's right. Inherently, that seems wrong. To me, at least. Maybe not to you guys. But to me, that seems wrong. And so I think that if you get into heaven with however you get into heaven, I think it's going to be how it looks to you because of what you think heaven looks like. Because, again, if heaven is created by an all-powerful God, how are we ever going to see heaven for what it truly is? Because we are human. Now, I get that our soul, or our basic energy, as I would call it, you would call it a soul maybe, isn't completely human, because we shed off our mortal vessel. But we still have those, I believe we would still have those thought patterns as human. And so it's hard for me to think that we would even be able to comprehend or visually comprehend what heaven even could be. Truth be told, I personally, when it comes to heaven, like the Islamic version of paradise a lot. Go learn about that if you so see fit. Yeah, that's just my views on that. And I get it. You will there will be people who claim that well, my religion is the right religion and you have to do this and this to get in heaven. I get that you believe that. I don't think that that's necessarily true myself. Again, because the religion is written by humanity. The only claimed exception is Islam, where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and yes, I say that even though I'm not Muslim, because I do think that prophets and stuff like that should be shown respect, even if you don't necessarily believe in that religion personally. I believe that he was, according to Islamic tradition, he was told the words of the Quran verbatim by God, because he was illiterate. He couldn't read or write, so obviously it would be hard for him to write something down if he couldn't do it, and so he then said it to other people who wrote it down. Fair enough. I mean, that's true if that story is true. It's kind of like I've had discussions with people. I've had great discussions with people in my comments on YouTube all about these topics and stuff. And I want to thank you guys for sharing, by the way. And I take nothing against that, because I love having those conversations, no matter what we believe, especially when we believe differently. So. But a lot of what is said in those conversations is, well, mine is right because of this, and mostly it's because of something that happened in the Bible. If I'm talking about the Christian example, and the thing that always pops in my head is, yes, if the Bible is true, because I don't know if the Bible is true or not. I mean, a lot of Christians claim that all the other religious texts aren't true. So why would yours then logically be the only one that is true? That's where I get stuck up with. Like, if all the others are wrong, but yours is the right one because what God in the book says so. Well, if God in the book didn't say so, would that be a religion in the first place? It's very hard to take just that word for me personally. So that's where I stand on that. Actually, interestingly, and I had this conversation with a person in the comments, and he actually reminded me of something, and so I wanted to include this in this video. As I said to him in the comments, I don't actually have as much of an issue believing in a God per se. I think that there is a space for God in nature. It is just as likely to me right now that God does not have to exist, but there is a potential space for one in nature, in our existence, and I wouldn't be so much against worshiping a God, although I couldn't call him the Christian God, I couldn't call him the Islamic God, I couldn't call him a Hindu God, I couldn't call him any of the religious gods. I think he would be something other than, but where was I going with this? I just lost my train of thought. So, see, this is why I write things down. No, I actually have, I have less of an issue with the idea of a potential God existing than I do with having a structure behind that God. So I'll give you an example. For the Christian God, the Catholic Church, for instance, if we're talking about Catholicism. Now, I think it was a gentleman I was talking to. I may be wrong about that, and I do apologize if I got that wrong. But the one comment, and he's right about this, or again I'm assuming, but they're right about this. Jesus never necessarily wanted a structured religion, and you can believe in and worship God without having to deal with the structure whatsoever. And actually, if I was in control of the world, say Andrew was dictator of the world. I mean, I've been dictator of a country, I've been Andrew Almighty, and now I'm Andrew, president of the world. My stock keeps going up and down. What the heck? That would be how I kind of would want things done. Actually, I would less like that there is that structure. I think that just being who I am and how I see things in the world, I think that structure is there's a lot of, but I'm not going to say that it is flawed. I'm not going to say that it is corrupt, but I'm going to say that there's a lot of potential that it could be flawed and could be corrupt. And we have seen throughout history that structures like that are just used to manipulate and control. And we can see that in like every religion that exists. That there's that problem that has happened. So generally speaking, I would, if I were to believe in a God, which I at this point I do not one way or the other. I'm still agnostic on this. Well, I'll make that point after. I think that if I were to believe in a God, I would believe in one. However, it would not be constrained within any of the religions that actually exist today. Again, I don't think we can understand what God is anyway, 100%. I think if we understand 1% of God, we're lucky. Again, that's just my opinion. But yeah, I do think that, well, I am still agnostic. I know people have tried. People have tried in real life. I hate using that term when talking. People have tried outside of the YouTube sphere to get me to the light. And people here have tried to, and you know, I have no problem with that. I'm willing to listen to anyone as long as they're reasonable and positive, and you know, they're doing it for what I see from a good place. I'm okay with that. That I don't have a problem with that. I like people. I like talking to people about different religion and stuff like that. But I think for the most part, I'm on my own path in life, and I will make whatever decision I make based on my choices. Again, not to say I don't want to talk to you about it, and you may contribute to those choices. However, don't expect me to change overnight because you have said anything personally. Nothing against you. You're probably very great people, very nice people. The one person I've been talking to for the last couple of days, we've been going back and forth. It's been a fantastic conversation, and I appreciate it. And I especially appreciate that last point you made, by the way, about you know, Jesus not wanting a structured religion. Because that has actually cleared up a lot of hesitations I do have on certain things. That being said, I am still on the fence about whether God exists or not, but I'm on a continual path of learning, and I will continue on that path, and let it lead where it may. And if you have religion, if you believe in God, great. If you don't, great. I don't see one of you as better than the other. Yeah, I think that's a good lead into my next video. So I hope you like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.